Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into this show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. It's time to go around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. So in the doctor for today, we're actually going to take a look at the new Walgreens card. There is a multiplier that could be helpful in a cashback setup. We have an update from the IRS actually making it easier to earn points and pay Uncle Sam at the same time. And then we are going to check in with a few American Express stories as well as Wells Fargo making a slight adjustment that could see them being just a little bit more competitive. So of course, that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we will lead off with, yes, the Walgreens credit card. It is now live, and I know this isn't going to be a headliner for most folks, but if you're playing a cashback setup, from what I've been reading, there's actually a potentially helpful multiplier here that you don't see covered too often. So, on screen here you have this. Again, this is the Walgreens, like Walgreens, you know, the drugstore. There are two versions. There's a store card and there's a credit card. We're talking about the credit card. So luckily enough, there is no annual fee as you would expect. Now the multipliers here are going to be 10 back on Walgreens branded products, 5 on Walgreens purchases, so things inside of their store, then 3 back on groceries and health and wellness. Now that is the point that I think that I've been reading about that's actually pretty helpful. So from what I understand, that health and wellness actually covers a wide range of items. You know, if you don't have a card that covers health and wellness, that could even be, you know, some doctors' offices and things like that, this could potentially be a good option. Again, I'm just going off of, you know, what we've been reading from data points and people saying, hey, this could potentially be a good addition to a cashback setup. Now, obviously, this would be an addition where you're just really trying to get the highest multiplier back on every single thing. So for that reason, I do mention it. I won't be getting it myself. You know, there is a limit even for me, but someone might find that helpful, and I did think it was at least a nice addition to make this card a little bit more competitive than one would think on face value. But with that, we're now going to take a look at one of the more interesting stories. Now, it is tax time, so that means, unfortunately, getting ready to, you know, write Uncle Sam a check for most of us. However, the IRS this time is doing something very surprising, making it just a little bit easier to pay with a credit card. Now, I have a full video that I'll put down below for you on how to pay your taxes with a credit card. At least federal taxes, it's very easy. You go to the IRS and you hit pay with credit card, and then you're presented with 3 different payment processing options. Now, historically, the cheapest one was 1.98% processing fee. But now when I was taking a look at the site maybe a few days ago, just kind of getting preparation for tax season, you can see that now PayUSA has actually dropped down to 1.85% processing fee. And you can see they take all payment. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, even a bunch of other ones you haven't heard of. PayPal's in there as well, which is great because, again, normally you'd want to pay with a 2% card, but, you know, you'd be getting the slimmest of margins back. But now if you pay with a 2% card, you're getting a little bit more. And, you know, what's more interesting, 1.85 is very close to 1.5, so this makes it even more advantageous to go after a sign-up bonus like maybe an Ink Unlimited card that still has that $900 offer. Of course, it's a 1.5x on everything, so you're barely eating into that sign-up bonus. So for me, in preparation of taxes, this will surprise you, but I actually got the American Express Blue Business Cash card. I know, an Amex card of all things, but it is a 2% card. There is a phone number that you call in. I'll post a link to it down below if you're interested, but you can call into American Express and ask for this offer where it's spend $5,000 on the card to get $500 back. So, you know, do I want the card long term? No, because they make you redeem the cash as a statement credit, but for one swipe, you know, I haven't done my taxes yet, but for one swipe, you know, to take care of your tax bill, you'll still earn a little bit of the points because 2.5 or 2% obviously better than, you know, 1.85, and then to get $500 off your tax bill, pretty good. So this is a bit of a sleeper story, but for those of us who are hardcore players, I do think this is actually a much bigger deal than what seems on the surface. So with that, you know, we are going to move, if you're looking for a potential card, we will take a look at Wells Fargo now, who's getting just a little bit more competitive here. So, you know, Wells Fargo is one of those annoying issuers that up until now they had a minimum redemption on their cash back, so you had to redeem in increments of $25. Now it looks like they are repealing that and going to let you redeem any amount. So if we take a look at it here, we have notice of Wells Fargo Rewards terms and conditions changes. Again, I picked this up off of Reddit, but if you're a card holder, then you would have gotten this. So again, you want the highlighted part there, redeem to account. So there will no longer be a $25 cash rewards or 2,500 points redemption increment required for manual cash redemptions. Now this is really good because this is one of those things that I hate We've actually seen a lot of issuers change. The city has actually gone to, redeeming any amount and making their points all thank you points, which was really nice. So, this actually does help a lot, making the card more useful. Now, unfortunately, from what I understand, you still have to redeem to like a Wells Fargo bank account. You can't send the money externally. There's a lot of banks who just don't want you to easily move any money from their ecosystem. So I think that's a bit unfortunate. I don't know if that will ever change. As again, these guys are trying to build up the ecosystem, and why would you ever have another bank account and a different credit card in their mind? But I do think this helps overall. I think Bank of America is still left with having the $25 redemption minimum. I don't think it's increments, though. I could see Bank of America following suit, just kind of like a shoulder shrug. Like, yeah, whatever, fine, we'll do it. I still don't think U.S. Bank has any inkling or any thoughts to change theirs. They're probably the most annoying. I guess I hold the top 5 banks plus American Express to a different standard than I do the smaller regional banks after you get out of the Power 5 of banking. But overall, this is a positive change. So if you have a Wells Fargo card, Active Cash or the Autograph, that is a little bit interesting for me to see. Now we have, unfortunately, some negative changes to one of my favorite services out there, which is Plastiq. So American Express is I think how this worked at least. I don't know for sure, but American Express cards will no longer work through Plastiq at all. So again, Plastiq is the service that allows you to pay bills that you normally couldn't with a credit card and get the reward points. Now, Plastiq has been on the decline for quite some time. Part of it is, they raised the processing fee to 2.9%, which again makes the IRS story from earlier that much more surprising, because we've only ever seen processing fees get more expensive. So to see the government ones lower is a bit surprising, especially when we saw Plastiq jump up to 2.9, which already makes it tougher. Obviously, most people use this just to hit minimum spends. Historically, I had the video, one of my favorite videos on the channel, where I used the Ink Premier through Plastiq to pay off my car, which worked because Ink Premier got you 2.5 on purchases of $5,000 or more, so it helped, and there was, another component in there. Anyways, Plastiq has since removed that. You can't pay auto loans anymore, so that video doesn't even work anymore. And, so Plastiq, they ended up citing, hey, there's operational issues, which, again, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure American Express picked up the phone and said, hey, enough, we want out altogether. Because, again, American Express is their own payment network as well. I think what makes this so unfortunate is that, again, I don't know this for a fact, but I was under the impression that when Plastiq first launched a few years back, the payment networks actually worked with them on what would be allowed and wouldn't be allowed on this. And then I think slowly over time, as Plastiq caught more and more attention, and these type of places, the banks, the actual issuers, went to the payment networks and like, no, you have to stop this. And then they went back to Plastiq and shut it down. Obviously, Amex being very vertically integrated, it's much easier for them to do. But Plastiq never lied about who they were, which I find the interesting piece of it. Their marketing material was pay bills, earn points, right? That's kind of what they were all about. So they never really hid what they were about, and that's kind of why I find it a little bit surprising that now all of a sudden, we're seeing everyone push back on Plastiq. And it's a little bit unfortunate. I think the service is about dead. It's still functionally, it's fine, but the usefulness to us is waning at 3% and no Amex cards and no auto loans, no mortgage loans, no debt, anything like that. So that is unfortunate. Now, we do have 2 more American Express stories, trying to get back in your good graces, I guess. So we've talked here about American Express's Centurion Lounge access for guests on the Platinum card. So again, if you to get 2 guests now, you have to have spent $75,000 on the Platinum card the previous year to continue to bring in guests. Well, now it looks like American Express is now offering to some Platinum card holders, the option to continue to bring in 2 guests. I don't yet know if there's a rhyme or reason to this. Honestly, from the data points we've seen, folks who got these emails were reporting that, they had not spent $75,000 on the card, so it is a little bit confusing. But overall, you can take a look at it, and what they're saying is, in appreciation from being a valued Amex Platinum card member, your account is now eligible to enjoy complimentary guest access for up to 2 guests for no fee each time you visit the Centurion Lounge through January 31st of 2024, of course, subject to space and availability. Now, I think that's a little bit funny because, you take away something that was always a benefit, and then a week later, I offer it to you again as a benefit. Thank you so much for being a card holder. I think that is interesting. I also think behind the scenes, they could be looking at it, saying who brought in a lot of guests versus maybe who was close on their spend, or who has a lot of our cards that they use, or maybe just trying to entice people to, remind them that you can bring in guests, because some people will never even know this was a change, and then, try to get you to spend the 75 grand next year. I always assume something slightly nefarious like that. But again, if you did get the email and it is you and you do bring in guests, let us know your data points down below. Because right now, I think that, I don't believe they're just targeting people at random. I think they're too smart for that. Now, with that, another potential tie-in that I see is that we've had a story for a while now where American Express, their referral program, in my opinion, was always a little bit broken and unfair because it capped you at about 55,000 MR points earned per year in referrals. But the problem is you very rarely ended up at like 50. You wouldn't end up at 55 because that would be like 3 or 5.5 referrals or something. So no matter what, if you hit that last referral, you were leaving like half the points on the table, which I thought was unfair. Again, depending on the card that you had and you were referring. So now it looks like over time they've been raising that referral limit up to about 100,000 MR points a year, which is pretty good, again, depending on which cards you have. It doesn't seem like it's rolled out to everyone yet. So we've had a lot of folks, I think this one comes to us from the Deal Guru, who's looking at his own account, but he's saying, hey, the new limit is going to be 100,000. It's currently, again, 55. Now, some users are showing 55, but the system is allowing for 100. Again, someone like him running his own publication probably hits 100 very quickly, so he would be able to see that. Now, it's rumored that the 100K limit will be coming on March 9th to everyone. Now, overall, again, I think that ties into the lounge stories, right? Because, again, you want to restrict access, get people, to get guests out of there and either get authorized users or get their own cards. So why not give you the ammunition, all you people out there who used to bring guests in? Hey, well, why don't you just refer them to your own card, their own card, and you'll still get something. Now, I believe this should apply to all the cards, not just the Platinum, but again, the timing is not, I don't think it's a coincidence, basically, and it's not, bad strategy overall. Again, if you are an Amex card holder, definitely keep an eye out for that. Again, referral programs are great. I'm a big fan of those. So if you can refer a few folks, and again, for year one, it should be fine. The only real question, I think the last question is before we close out, so what will the referral offer be? Because we've seen Amex Platinums all over the place, 150s, 125s, 100s, it's gone back down to 80, so that's another thing to keep track of. They're offering more points to the referrer. Will they still, be pushing decent offers? Maybe not 150s, but 125, something respectable like that. That is yet to be seen, at least when it goes live, so of course we'll keep an eye out for that. Anyways, guys, that has been it for the news. So, of course, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, posting content just like this every week, right back every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And, of course, we're posting daily on ProfitableContent.com, which is the channel's blog where we not only cover news stories when they happen to hit the newsroom just like this, we also have credit card offers, we have bank bonuses, we have everything that you would consider profitable content. It'll be linked down below for you if you are so inclined, go ahead and check it out. I would appreciate it. Anyways, guys, of course, let me know what you've seen going on in the news, especially you Amex folks and you guys getting ready to pay your taxes. Did I shock you by getting an Amex card to pay my taxes? What card are you going to use to pay your taxes? I'd love to get your thoughts on that as we get ready for tax season. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching and talk to you very soon this week.